Hello everyone, welcome back to the ResearchWorks podcast.
Yes, welcome back. We are very excited to have our final EACD conference special for you today. We didn't get to record this one in person at the conference, but we thought that the topic of this presentation, which was actually a mini-symposium at the conference, was so interesting and relevant to a lot of the clinicians who tune in every week.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Today, it's our pleasure to welcome Rocío Palomo-Carrión. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So nice to have you here. I think the fact that we were meant to talk when we're in Slovenia, it's just really funny that we can connect now. I think we tried a few times, but we're so glad we can do this. And the reason why we thought it was so important is because the Mini-symposium was all about powered mobility. The title of it was about facilitating participation in children with spinal muscular atrophy, type 1, ready for the race. A great topic.
Absolutely.
And I think, powered mobility is something we haven't covered very much here on the podcast yet. And when it comes to spinal muscular atrophy, there's a lot of exciting things happen from a medical innovation perspective at the moment. So, in fact, we'll be speaking to a world-leading expert about that in a few weeks' time too. So
Very
it all
exciting.
ties in really nicely. So clinicians, let's get ahead of it and let's know what's out there.
Definitely. And, selfishly, I think I'm just really excited that I get to join in one of the EACD
True.
conference episodes as well. Feels like I was there, kind of.
For sure, it does indeed.
So thank you, Rocío. I think the great thing about conferences, is that you often get to access work that is happening in the area right now. It's really on the precipice and might still be on its way to being published a lot of the time. So we're really it's almost breaking news, isn't it? It's what's the most recent happenings
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah,
in our research world. So, but all conferences, particularly EACD, go through a really rigorous review. There's a scientific committee and everything that gets, put up to be presented at the conference goes through that review process. So we know that, anything that is presented at that conference is a really trusted source of information. So with a lot of our conference series, like we've said before, this work is really new and it's on its way to being published, but it's still really important and there's lots of take-home messages for our clinicians out there.
No, well put. That's really true. Yeah.
So, Rocío, before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about your line of research and the work that you do?
Thank you very much for my introduction. I'm very happy with this opportunity to be with you in this online way. I am pediatric physiotherapy. I have a great enthusiasm to work in pediatrics field, and now I'm working at the University of Castilla-La Mancha, and we have different lines to research. One of them is related to family engagement in research. It's very important to give them the possibility to listen them and to give voice in research. And my postdoc is related to this topic. And for other hand, I'm very enthusiastic with the center family programs. I use in COPCA in determining families to increase the motivation, their strategies to apply in children. And I have a great experience in infantile hemiplegia because I started to research in that population. My PhD is related that this affection. And I am director in a specific association that is in Spain. It is EmiWeb, and we give support families and children with this condition.
Wow.
And now I'm very happy because I am introducing me in power mobility, and I learning a lot in this training and with the spinal muscular atrophy too.
That's so great. And I think what you've already covered there, a little bit about yourself, and obviously you've done a fair bit of research in your postdoctorate now. Sounds like you've worked clinically too. Like it's so great. I do have a question about, powered mobility is something that, we increasingly know it's really important. There's been a lot of work in the area of cerebral palsy, how powered mobility is really related to supporting children to explore and move, which we know more and more now as a human right. It's the work of Heather Feldner. So I thought it would be really interesting to kind of know, like, what is it that sort of brought you into the area of powered mobility?
I think it's very important to use power mobility in an early age, and I wanted to use this specific training in spinal muscular atrophy type 1 because we consider that it's a population with severity problems and they don't have enough opportunities to move. They only obtain medical treatments and they have a lot of respiratory problems. Families are afraid to go with children into parks or the community. We decide to use this device, toy cars, in spinal muscular atrophy to give them the possibility to move in a quick way and to have different experiences to interact with the environment. Because these children will use wheelchairs in the future, and it's very important to learn how they can use the levers or the power mobility for the next future, and to have other opportunities to move.
Yeah. Can I follow on with that one for just quickly? Yeah. Is you're talking about type 1. Are we talking about type 1 spinal muscular atrophy here, which is, from my understanding, I know we still need to talk more about it with our next few podcast guests, which would be great. Yeah. Is this the group that gets diagnosed and tend to spend a lot of their life with needing ventilation? They don't tend to have a very long life. Is this that group that we're talking about, or are we talking broadly spinal muscular atrophy types 2 and other groups?
We have started with spinal muscular atrophy first one. Instead other groups. For example, we had the possibility to involve type 2 or other groups, but always the research, the literature said that this training, power mobility in general, was applied, as you said before, in cerebral palsy. And we realized that cerebral palsy had different challenges to use the power mobility, because at the end, we knew that cerebral palsy had several problems to move, but 2 cognitive problems in some occasions. No, for example, in Go Zika Go, we were talking with Edmar Longo, the leader of the research, and we was deliberating about that because their children have a lot of problems in a cognitive level. But with spinal muscular atrophy is different because they have a good cognitive level. But the problem is the move, the movement. And we wanted to adapt the protocol that Edmar Longo used in the Go Zika Go, but we realized that it's very long for these children because they have a good cognitive level, and maybe we need to change that aspect to increase their abilities in another way in a short time.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Thank you. So this work was presented as a mini-symposium at EACD. Can you tell us a little bit more about the study that's involved with the work that you're doing and what you're trying to find through that work?
Mm-hmm. This training has lasted about 12 weeks, and we need. It's very beautiful for me. It's a great adventure. We did a specific training before the treatment in general, and we saw and taught children how they could use the levers to manage the car, and they had the possibility to push the levers, and when she or he push a dog started to walk, for example,
nice.
to have an objective. If I press that, I achieve that. And then it was for 5 minutes, and then we started with the toy car, and to know how were the needs that the child had in that moment, and if we need to push a seat to control the position, and different adaptation in a temporary way or permanent. For example, a bar to connect both levers, or a ball, or a joystick too, and it was very, very, very good. And at the beginning, in some children, is not real good, because they are starting to cry, because they didn't know how they must do. But after, when the time passed, they started to learn in a quick way to manage the car, first in a closed environment, and then in an open environment.
That's really great.
It was very, very funny.
That's wonderful. And how old are these children who are taking part?
We started with children from 10 months to 5 years, and we realized that children, younger children, had more opportunities to move, and they are more involved in the training, because when they are older, they don't have the same motivation to manage the car, and at the end they prefer the wheelchair, because they can use more speed than the toy car, because at the end it's a toy car, not a real car to manage. Because it's 6 kilometers per hour.
Speed limit.
That's still pretty quick though. In a house.
Parents said, Parents said, it's a slow toy car. No, it's normal, because at the end it's a toy car for a child. It's a real car.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love that. I've had a little bit of experience these toy cars actually, where we've had it slightly modified, and I've mostly had experience of children with cerebral palsy, and I know Egg My Long Go and the Go Baby Go, and there's been a lot of things around that, but there's been such a push for us to really go, mobility is so important. We must start early. Yeah. And I love how you said from 10 months.
Yeah,
when you think about a lot of babies, they are, where they don't have a neurological condition at 10 months, they're really exploring.
Yeah. And they really understand that cause and effect.
That's right.
Relationship, don't they?
Yeah.
I do this thing and this happens. It's quite
I run over this thing and this happens. It's really great.
I have a video with the training we use to show children to learn how they can move the levers. I don't know if I can share with you. I don't know. if you want, I can share a short.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, send it through. We'll get producer Ed to help put us in there. Well, we can do that. I can't say I've got the skills to do that. That'd be wonderful if you could share that later for us. That'd be wonderful.
Absolutely.
I think the only thing I would add about that, I'm just really thinking about these children with spinal muscular atrophy. I guess it's even more important because a lot of these children won't really get the opportunity to be upright, maybe in a walking frame. You know, like it's different to children with cerebral palsy where we have more supported stepping devices. Many of them don't need ventilation. They don't need that mechanical aspect of it. Whereas children with spinal muscular atrophy, depending on when they're symptomatic, they're going to spend a lot more time either on the floor or sitting. Yeah.
I realize that families are afraid in all situations for them. This research has been very good and great, but for other hand, a great effort for them because in some moments children had been hospitalization, and they don't want to go to the park, for example, to interact with others because they were afraid to obtain a virus, for example, and to increase the disability in the child. And when we obtain more ability in the power mobility learning, for example, when the child can move in a correct way and he or she needs to go outside at home, a family in that moment can stop with the training, or they were insecurity with the chains because they were afraid, but not for the training and not for the health condition of the children. And it was... In that part, I think that it's a complex population, but they need more time to do and to train and to understand that they can use this power mobility and maybe with our strategies to support them and to transmit them security in that moment.
Yeah, and it's such a good point because it's only natural that these families would be so focused on the medical complexities and challenges that they face every day. Yeah. So, opening up their world a little bit and supporting them to find out what's possible for their family, and being able to access more of their world, it's such a benefit.
It's all efforts really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And in such a meaningful way. I mean, efforts are always meaningful anyway, but you can imagine being very fearful when you've had so many hospitalizations, so many appointments.
An objective we had with these families were increase the participation. And when we passed the 1C pen, we realized that these children hadn't any participation in the community. And it was not only for their condition, not for the effect that families had in that moment.
No, it's really important.
And I'm very happy for that because we can help these families and not only children.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, it's a bigger need, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So I feel like we've kind of covered a little bit of it already. Like, obviously, we're just going to be really excited to wait for these the results of this study. So we'll talk to you again when it's all been published. And for now, though, I feel like for clinicians listening to this and they do have children with SMA in their caseload, what are your top tips for them? Like, what can they do right now if they have a child with SMA?
In a short time, we have been able to see that children obtain more ability to move, social abilities too for interacting with others, and achieve the goals that families propose before the training related to the power mobility. And for other hand, the adherence increase in the training with families are involved and they can support, they have support. And for other hand, the participation is increasing too. Wow. In the community is the most important part, but with some limitations for the faith that families had. And for me, the key or the principal messages that I have is using power mobility in an early age because it's very important. Children learn in a short time to manage the car.
Okay, that's good to know.
And it's surprising, but it's true. A child is 10 months is able to manage the car in 2 weeks.
It's incredible. In 1 week.
And it's very nice to see the child.
Oh, that's so great from a quality of life perspective.
Yeah. And sorry, did you say it was in 1 week they managed to pick up those skills to actually, wow.
Yes.
Yeah. It's such a great payoff,
and
isn't it?
Yes. It's very, very nice project because at the end of the project we donate the cars for families to use the devices in their natural environment.
Yeah.
And it's very beautiful too because we had the possibility to choose different toy cars, but at the end we decided to choose maybe not the beautiful car, but it was a car without the front part. And it's very important because the child has the opportunity to entry and to be in a comfortable way with the seat or the trunk control and to use different adaptations. And the car has music too. It's very funny.
That's so
and
good.
The toy car has a control to avoid the choke with the other cars. It's very nice, beautiful car for me, but not maybe not for children because it's not a typical car. Sure. You can see a toy car. It's not other type of car, but easy to manage. It was our objective. To forward the mobility with a special car.
There's a good tips there already because, when you think about driving a car, I'm a short person, so if it's got a long bonnet, I can't drive. I can't see the top part of it when I'm parking. So it makes sense. You don't want it to have this long bonnet that they can't get up into things. But from a practical perspective, toy cars aren't very expensive. No. We got ours modified by just someone who just knows a little bit of electrical engineering. So not me, some soldering and some switches and levers, and then just someone to help make an insert that's quite a simple insert to provide postural control. Yeah. It was quite
just
good.
Those minor modifications make such an impact.
Yeah, and don't have adults go into ours. I realised after I lent one of ours out, the engine was complete. The motor was gone because I think a few adults might have ridden it.
Pushed to limits of what's possible.
Yeah, that's right. But those are some great tips already, Rocío.
We decided to do the adaptation. For example, with engineer, I only use the joystick to manage the car, but the other adaptations were performed by our minds, our thoughts, and it is very good because at the end you are adapting the different cars for the special needs that these children have,
It's very individual.
And it's very, very, very good. We send different questionnaires for families to know about the different, for example, if the child needs a special seat or a trunk control, and then to prepare all of this to manage the adaptations. And after that, maybe 2 or 3 children need to change adaptations, and the rest continue with the same.
That's great.
Such good advice. Yeah, thank you. Good. Thank you so much for joining us today, Rocío.
Thank you.
So excited that we were able to find a time to talk to you about this work. We obviously can't wait for the paper to come out and for you to come back and talk to us again about the study and the results and, what that means for our clinical practice. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mo. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that officially wraps up our EACD series, Dana. I got to join in for the last little part of it.
It's so great. We got to 28. It's pretty good.
That's incredible. Yeah. And
nice episodes.
Due to all of your hard work. So I'm sure lots of you have seen already that they're all available, obviously, on our usual podcast channels, but they're also available on our YouTube channel as well. So I encourage everyone to check that out. We're really keen to give you as many ways to get involved in the conference series as possible and really feel like me, if you weren't able to be there, that you were there.
That's true. And yes, producer Ed's done a great job getting them all out onto YouTube. Just FYI, it is kind of funny seeing everyone's reactions when I butcher their name. Like you actually get to see their faces and they go, that was perfect. No. But it's a whole lot of fun. So we hope you find that useful. And as always, we really welcome feedback, areas that you want us to look into. This morning I just spoke with someone about, areas that they'd love to hear about. I think it's great.
Yeah. Or people that you think, we might not have spoken to yet, who you think would be really interesting to have on, please let us know.
A lot of great researchers out there, aren't they? So
for sure.
People speak to.
Yeah.
And, as we said in our previous announcements, EACD Bruges is a thing.
It's coming.
The partnership continues. And, don't forget to subscribe as well so you can see when all the new episodes come out because a bunch of new episodes are about to come out.
Very soon.
Very soon. Stay tuned for the next part of this season. So, we've got a lot of great things already lined up.
Lots more to come.
Yeah, lots more to come. So, as usual, so much fun. Love it. Good to see you. So
you
great.
Too.
Good to see everyone. And we'll talk to you all again very soon. Bye.
Bye.